In January of 2019, DaYan released their 55mm TengYun M, putting in a good effort into making it a viable top-tier speed cube, and for some, it achieved that. Clearly, DaYan saw that it was either received well or had some potential in it, because in April of 2020, they released a version 2 to the TengYun M, this time with a huge amount of self-customization options. So let's try to answer the question, which version is better? The version 1, available for $36.50 at speedcube.com.au, comes with a full CFOP pamphlet and 2 extra spring sets, standard and strong. The cube itself for me almost felt ready to go right out of the box. It's got a tight and stable but gummy feel to it. The turning reminds me of the original Volk a lot, and probably even more if you were to lube that Volk's core with Traxxas or Weight 5 lube, just to give it that extra gummy feel. There were complaints about this cube turning way too fast out of the box and was over-lubed at the factory, but I feel that they've recognised that as an issue and adjusted production, because the one I received had no lube on the outside of the pieces, and I definitely didn't find it too fast of a cube. Personally, I got fantastic times with this cube the day I received it, including a new PB average of 5 of 7.01 seconds. The way the cube can handle a high turning speed and a consistent flow impresses me, and I feel that a lot of that is thanks to the relatively tight tensions that are set, so I don't think I'll be adjusting the stock tensions of this cube. I might however be throwing in some DaYan M or silk when I feel it needs it. If I'm being honest, I'm struggling to find things that I dislike with this cube, but I will say that when I compare it to one of my other favourite cubes, the GTS 3M, the TengYun cannot cope as well when my turning gets wild and all over the place. The TengYun flows far better when there is some level of control in your hands and your turning. Now, fast forward a bit over a year and the quite highly anticipated version 2 gets released for $53.50. There was a lot more excitement over the release of this cube, which I feel like is mostly due to the crazy number of customization options you're given, which reminds me of the DaYan X customization. With this cube, you're given tutorial and setup pamphlets, a core, a Phillips and flathead screwdriver, a 2-sided adjustment tool, and 2 extra sets of springs. Even though this video isn't about setting up your TengYun V2, these customization options change the feel of the puzzle quite a lot, so we'll take a quick look. Under the center cap, you'll see 2 layers of rings with numbers on them. You can use the respective end of the blue adjustment tool to twist each layer to a number. The upper layer, from a setting of 0.6 to 1.2, adjusts the cube's tension, in other words, the distance from the center cap to the core, which affects how much the pieces will want to flex around. The lower layer, on a scale of 0 to 1.5, adjusts spring elasticity, in other words, how strong the force of the spring keeping the center to the core is. And finally, there's the magnetism strength, which you can adjust by using the flathead screwdriver for a magnet strength of 1, 2, or 3. So, there are a lot of things that you can do with this cube, and it's potentially a little overwhelming trying to find the exact combination that will be best for you. After playing around with these settings for a while, I found that the spectrum of stability offered was focused much more on the looser, less controllable side than the tighter, firmer side. Because of this, I found my preferred settings to lie at 0.6 for the tension, which is the upper layer, 1.0 for the spring elasticity, the bottom layer, and a 3 or max strength for the magnets. If you're someone who's struggling to find a decent starting point for your customization, I'd recommend keeping the tension at 0.6 and playing around with the other options from there. Now on to turning. So, like I mentioned, I did my best to keep this cube under control as best as I could, and the end result honestly wasn't too bad. The cube is quite fast, it's got a snappy, heavy feel to it, and you can generally turn at pretty high speeds without much of an issue. But I do tend to get small catches when I'm not turning very accurately. Remembering, I like my TengYun V2 on the tighter settings. The fact that I still sense a bit of a loose, flexy nature to the turning, I feel just means that it's more of the cube's style itself, and that's just a feature I don't prefer when it comes to my main cubes. So here's where I say the better cube is the one that fits your style better. And while that's very true, you should also consider these things. The version 1 is a considerably cheap magnetic puzzle, coming in at $36.50 Australian dollars, which is great. As discussed, there is much less capability for customization to it, which honestly could be a good thing if you're someone who doesn't like that responsibility of getting all the settings right, where the V2 is great for people that love playing around with the tensions and the magnet strength. If I had to summarise the differences in turning, I would say that the V1 is a quieter, lighter cube that is still nimble and quick without flexing around too much, where the V2 is a bit snappier, heavier, and a more freely and openly flowing cube in terms of its stability. Now it should be easier for you to make your decision, and for me, that's the TengYun M version 1. Both of these puzzles are available in black and stickerless at speedcube.com.au, where I get my puzzles from. See the links in the description if you'd like to head over there now, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.